Hi, teachers. I want to introduce you to a really great feature that School AI has called Sidekick. Sidekick is School AI's very customizable tutor chatbot that you can use for your students. So let me just kind of open them right up. We'll go to Sidekick, and you can make Sidekick very, very simple. You can simply say, I want you to help my students practice mathematical functions. I have just introduced the topic and I want them to be able to have several practice problems before moving on to the next topic. Okay, this is a pretty basic prompt. The good thing is it should give your students plenty of things to work on. The bad news is I haven't been really specific. And so that means there's a chance that the Sidekick will make the prompt not quite as specific, might set up the functions a little bit differently than I want Sidekick to. Might not really take into account my students' ability levels, and so there's going to be some practice that students get, but it may not be ideal. So that's where you can go down to more options. You can describe that my students are below level ninth grade students, right? Or they are advanced 11th grade students, whatever you want to do, right? Then you can obviously interact and encourage the tutor bot to be patient with your students, to encourage them, to give clues. Under here, you can really set that they have to give them at least 2 hints before they give the right answer, things like that. Okay. That's kind of the general idea behind Sidekick. So let me just show you 2 that I've made, because one of the goals here is not to just have a tutor chatbot that can work with students individually, but that you can really differentiate your support for different students. So what I've done here is I've created Jim. I've created Pam, and I'm going to create Stanley on this video. So if you're an Office fan, you know exactly where I'm going. Okay, Jim is my tutor chatbot who's going to work with my lower level students. So I practiced this. I had my son try it out. Now I will tell you, my son is perfectly capable of doing better than this. I had him intentionally get some stuff wrong. And so what you'll see is this was the live feedback that it was giving me as Noah was working through things. It gives me how he's feeling. So for instance, if they're doing really well, it'll get a big smiley face. If they're starting to struggle a little bit, then you'll get feeling neutral right here. And it gives feedback. This feedback was given over time. So this came up very quickly. A couple minutes later, I got this, then this, then this. Once the session ended, this is what I got. And if you have multiple students, it'll kind of give you how all of your students are doing this. But let me show you what I did with the prompt. When I built Jim, I went to the same place just like this. And yes, once you've finished them, you can click on the name. You can change the name very easily. So for Jim's session guidance, I was very specific. I said, I want you to tutor NC Math 1 students on functions to practice the following standard. So I typed up the standard code and then the actual language of the standard. Format the problem like this. I'm just going to tell you, I pulled this straight off of the released Math 1 exam that is publicly available. So I wanted to be very specific because I knew the more specific I was, the better chatbot I'm going to get. So I said the class, the standard, and I showed them exactly what I wanted the problem to look like. Under more options, your students are lower ability students who need significant scaffolding. Some students may struggle with their multiplication facts, and virtually all of them will frequently get confused by what they're solving for because they rush through the question and or struggle with reading comprehension. So how do you want to interact? Break down the function into its individual parts and patiently help students work through confusing parts, and be sure to give at least 2 hints for each question you ask before giving the answer. Whereas for Pam, you'll see the guidance is a little bit different. Pam is going to work with different students. So right here, what do I want the Sidekick to work with my students? This didn't change a bit. For more options, Pam is working with on grade level students who are capable of completing these challenges with minimal assistance. It's just new to them. For how do I want the Sidekick to interact? Expect the students to be able to complete the function with minimal help, but give them occasional hints if they get confused. You should not need to break the function down unless they ask for it specifically, and then again, be sure to give 2 hints for each question you ask before giving the answer. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make Stanley for my advanced students, and we're going to do a little shortcut. So I'm going to go to my home page in School AI. I'm going to go to Pam. I'm going to go to the 3 dots over here, and I'm going to duplicate Pam. So we've got Sidekick here again. Okay. I'm not quite ready yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this one Stanley. I apologize if you're hearing my dog in the background. And then I'm going to go to the session guidance. Again, I'm going to leave this exactly the same, but under more options, your students are advanced students who are capable of completing these challenges with no assistance. They just want to get stronger. Get stronger and complete more difficult functions as they go. Okay, I'm going to delete that. Expect the students to be able to complete the function with minimal help. Yeah. If they get confused, you should not need to break down. Yeah, we're going to leave that because I do want to make sure they can get the idea here. But what I really want to change is they're advanced students. They're capable of completing with no assistance, but we want to get stronger. And so what we're going to do is, here we go. As they master linear functions, start introducing exponential functions. They may need help with the exponential functions. Okay, there we go. And update. And now we're going to go to share prompt. Oh, nope, sorry, that's for fellow teachers. This is for my student. So now I'm going to invite students. I'm going to click invite. I'm going to use the space code, and then I can just copy that and I can email them to the students. Now, here's the real beauty. Let's say in one class, you have some gyms, or you have some students who need gym. They need extra support. They're really struggling. You have some students who are getting it, but they just need some more practice. Pam is great for them. And then you have the students who have got it and you want them to get to the next level. They need to work with Stanley. Here's the beautiful thing. You can have students working with Jim, Pam, and Stanley simultaneously. And you can do it without letting other students know, hey, those students are getting the hard tutor. This student's getting the tutor for the extra help. You can do it in a way that is perfectly anonymous and you're abiding by FERPA. Okay. So all you got to do is you just need to know which students need Jim. Well, I've already closed Jim out. And then you need to know which students need Pam. You're going to email them this invite code. And then you know those who need Stanley, and you're going to send them this invite code. And you can do that. And then as you're perusing around the room, students are getting the individual help that they need in a way that is very much honoring their privacy. And so that way you're really able to capitalize on your time with them because they're getting those individualized chatbots.